the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to the WC podcast. Today we have a very special guest from the Department of Business and Industry, Marcel Schaerer. Welcome, Marcel.
Well, good afternoon, Jaime. Good seeing you.
Good to see you always. I know that we've been doing now business together for a while. We have a lot of things to talk about. A few weeks ago, we were together at the Governor's Small Business Resource Fair at the Schaerer West Library. So let's start by talking about your organization, Nevada's Department of Business and Industry. What is the mission of the organization, and what is your role? I drive by it when I come up Schaerer, and I see the words there, Nevada's Business Resource Center.
Well, specifically is the Nevada State Business Center. And of course, it captures resources. But, we do exist for the purpose of basically promoting the development and growth of the small business sector and businesses in general. And at the same time, providing this umbrella of regulation. That's what we do there. And of course, the Department of Business and Industry is a far-reaching organization because we are in many different areas. In fact, we have 11 divisions covering different aspects, from either starting a small business to getting into your first home or mining-related issues. So a lot to be done with 11 divisions. And we always say, if you and I sell real estate, we need to be licensed and regulated. Same thing goes for insurance. If you and I have a labor dispute and overtime issues, we go to the labor commissioner. So a far-reaching organization, just providing a lot of resources and regulating different industries.
And some of those divisions, Marcel, people wouldn't know, but I remember when you first gave me the tour, I didn't expect to see the boxing, in there. I didn't expect to see, several of those taxi, just some things that I saw that I was surprised that it was in that building.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you were to ask a person, what do you know about business and industry, they have a hard time articulating what it is. But it's really this regulatory umbrella. And therefore, again, we are providing services, we are protecting consumers, and also pointing to advocacy. What else can we do to advance the business sector?
And what is your role specifically, Marcel, in the organization?
Well, my role, I am one of two deputy directors. I am based here in Las Vegas, and I am responsible for overseeing the operation out of the director's office. And in that capacity, of course, is the small business sector, is business and industry in general, providing services, advocacy, and also consumers. Protection of consumers is a big, big deal for us, including minorities.
You have a full plate, obviously. Whenever I see you, you're always working on a project, on an event. When you have a complex menu of offerings like the business and industry has, it's important to try to make it easy to navigate. And one of the things I love that you did was create a roadmap. And we helped feature it in our EmployeeMVBusinessHub.org website to help, again, businesses access that roadmap. We created a 60-second animated video, quick information. But tell us more about this roadmap and what's intended to do.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for creating that 60-second video that showcases the roadmap. The roadmap is basically a guide to start, run, and grow a business in Nevada. That's what it is. It's a visual PDF file. And Jaime, if I was the person who had the vision, Chris Wise in our office was the person who designed it and put it together. And it is very practical. It's about 15 stops that really frames this idea. How do I start a business? How do I run it? And how do I grow a business if needed? So it's very practical. It has over 300 links to this humongous, I call it, business support ecosystem throughout Nevada. And that's the beauty of this roadmap. And People can access that simply by going to business.nv.gov and going to the Business Resource Center and access that information.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we'll put the URL here.
Yes, please do.
On this podcast episode. So, Marcel, when you talk about businesses and who BNI helps and who this roadmap is for, we hear a lot that the economy is made up primarily from small business. And I know that definition is different depending on who's, putting down the definition. But what we can all agree upon is that corporations or the big companies that we always hear about and all know are a small portion. The real engine of our economy is these small businesses. Tell us a little bit more about, again, what percentages of businesses are small businesses, knowing that definition can change. But more importantly, we hear the word micro businesses. And so tell us a little bit about the importance of understanding the difference between those.
Definitely. So, number one, since you focus on what percentage, and that number is 92%. 92% of businesses in Nevada are small businesses. Now, having said that, and by the way, they employ roughly 524,000 employees in Nevada. Wow. So huge amount of people working for the small business sector. Now, according to the Small Business Administration, the definition of a small business is 500 employees or less. The state has also a definition of a small business, and that is 150 employees or less.
It's closer to what I would have thought. 500 seems like a lot.
Right. Well, now here's the thing. 297,000 small businesses in Nevada. And if you group it in three categories, Jaime, you have a category of no employees. That number out of the 297,000 is 245,000 businesses. Solo entrepreneurs, one person, no employees. Mm-hmm. The other category is 1 to 19 employees, and that is roughly 45,000 businesses, representing about 15% of all employees. Mm-hmm. And the third category is 20 employees all the way to 500, and that is only 3%, about 7,000. Now, why am I mentioning that? Is because then to your second question, we hear small business and then we hear micro businesses. Let me start off by just saying there is a definition by Steve Blank, a Silicon Valley entrepreneur, of what is entrepreneurship. And he described 4 categories. Number 1 is a small entrepreneurship, scalable startup entrepreneurship, big entrepreneurship, for example, Starbucks, and then social entrepreneurship. Now, micro businesses, one way to consider micro businesses is focusing on that category of 1 to 19 employees. Again, that is 45,000 businesses in Nevada in that category, representing 15%. And of course, regardless of that definition, those doers are there, but they need help the most because they need their resources as compared to solo entrepreneurs. So hopefully that makes sense.
It totally does, but it really does capture your attention when you think about 240,000 sole proprietors, or like you said, entrepreneurs that maybe they don't have any staff because they haven't grown yet to the full capacity, right? Maybe they started their pool cleaning business with their truck and it's just them today, but tomorrow it might be their first and second and third employee. It might be somebody who's manufacturing something at a small scale, but they're going to grow. And so the way you describe it, micro businesses really have, again, not just in size today, they are the engine of this economy, but their growth also represents the biggest opportunity for growth in our economy.
Exactly, Jaime. And that's why we need to continue to provide technical assistance, not only to a solo entrepreneur, like you said, a landscape company of just one person, or a real estate person just having a license and selling real estate, but there is a category of 1 to 19 employees. You never know when they are going to take off. And very often I repeat the same story, as you know, Jaime. Apple in 1976, out of a garage, was a small business.
Yeah.
Look where Apple is today in terms of economic development, workforce development, and business development. And that's why we need to continue to really help any entrepreneur, because we never know when this complex equation of success will come. But if when it comes, you generate jobs, better wages, and contribute to economic development.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that, the alignment between economic development and workforce development. But before I move on to that, I wanted to let you know that we were just notified by GoDaddy.com. They have this really interesting website that has to do with data on micro businesses across the nation. And they also provide world-class training for micro entrepreneurs. And so they've selected a handful of local workforce boards, like Workforce Connections from across the country, to provide at no cost. They're going to come to our region through our Employee MV business hubs and provide this training to entrepreneurs, again, to help them grow. And so we'll be working with you to help us get that word out in the community through your business groups that you have. It's just in the seed stage right now, but we hope that we'll have it running in the next couple of months. So I wanted to mention that to you.
Oh my goodness, Jaime. Music to my ears.
Yeah.
Anything that we can do to add to this, what we call the business support ecosystem, is welcoming news. As you know, and you said it, people just need help in many, many areas, and especially micro businesses. They need help with capital. They need help with planning. They need help with certifications and contracts. They need help with people. One of the biggest challenges right now after the pandemic.
And that was going to be my next topic I wanted to discuss with you, because everybody's talking about the labor shortage.
Right.
You know, big business, small business, in addition to, like you said, the other challenges that we have. But what's very interesting is that what we don't stop to think about is that this labor shortage is not just a product of the pandemic. The pandemic, of course, had its impact on it. But if you look at the data, the statistics over the last few decades, birth rates in the United States are down. When I came to this country in 1987, each family had approximately 2.3 children in it. And of course, I didn't help that because I only had 2. And so I lowered the rate. And my kids, who are now 28 and 30, have 0. And so I think it's just a demonstration in my own life of how, this data we have gone, the country has stopped having as many babies as before. And of course, that's our future workforce. It's not the only decline. Immigration has declined over the last few decades in our country. And if that wasn't bad enough, there are more people retiring than ever before because of the baby boomer generation. So all of those things have added up to create this never seen before labor shortage. Here's the not so good news, is that there is no magical solution, because it takes 18 years to have a baby and graduate them from high school and put them to work. And, we don't see these waves of immigrants or the conditions that are going to encourage people to immigrate to America, even though that's been, as you know, throughout history, one of the big reasons why this country developed and became a world power, the contributions of immigrants. But you and I are immigrants. And so
exactly.
I think one of the things that we don't see is that it's going to take this labor shortage is not going to be solved overnight. It's going to take multiple strategies, like tapping into alternate labor pools that haven't competed well in the economy and during good times. the reentry population, for example. We have programs that really focus on that. People with disabilities, returning vets, again, the immigrant community that has the right to the authorization to work in the United States. And most importantly, the earliest piece of our talent pipeline, which is the K through 12 system, our youth. Every year around May, we walk 25 to 30,000 young people across that graduation stage. And the statistics show, the school district shows that only half of them have a robust plan for post-secondary skill acquisition, which could mean community college, military, university. And then the reality of that is that only half of those, so no longer, let's say it's 30,000. So if 15,000 have a robust plan, only half or 7,500 succeed. The other 7,500 join the other 15,000, which is now 22,500 in that disconnected stage, not in school, not working. And so we have to do a better job, and we're working with our partners at CCSD. The superintendent, Jara, sits on the Workforce Connections board. We have multiple initiatives kind of attending to that. So with all that said, with all those challenges, Marcel, that are not going to be solved soon, what are your thoughts on, again, solutions for those challenges, and perhaps even in addition to the labor shortage, what other major challenges do you see small businesses facing?
Well, let me start with the last one. The last piece is what other challenges. In addition, of course, to hiring and retaining people, huge challenge. Another one is, and given that there is a shift in the market and probably how long are we going to have these unsettling conditions, we probably will need to move forward and live with that. But what we hear from the small business sector is that in addition to the labor shortage, of course, there is this high prices. And again, you saw the latest consumer index report, basically 9.1%, very high inflations, and that is creating all sorts of challenges for the small business sector. Another huge area for the business sector at all levels is supply chain, as you know. And that is not going to be resolved short term either. We'll have to navigate those waters until we're able to bring a macro perspective into that equation. And the other piece really has to be this ongoing need to access capital, loans and grants. And that will come and go, I think, as we navigate a shifting market. It's not going to be easy, but those are some of the things, in addition to the labor shortage, that we hear from the business sector. The other piece, of course, has to do with labor, the workforce. In that area, I always say there is a management concept of challenges called VUCA, which is V as in Victor for volatility, uncertainty for the U, C is complexity, and then A is ambiguity. And imagine those challenges. It seems like any workplace goes through these challenges daily, and it will accelerate. But having said that, I think this component of human capital, as long as we continue to focus on education and training, and it's a combination, of course, when we say education is also skills and training, that is the opportunity there. But I think that the delivery of it will have to be quite different moving forward. It's just not the traditional in-person delivery of training. And the skills, if we provide and train people with the knowledge or technical expertise, there is this huge component moving forward, which is basically the soft skill. That not in addition to our knowledge and skills, we will probably need this added notion of problem-solving skill. Everyone talks about it, Jaime. Mm-hmm. But how do we train individuals with problem solving. So a lot of it can come into this equation, but we have to be intentional and deliver those offerings for people to really gain those skills.
Absolutely, Marcel, and I'll plant an idea with you about the future, because as you know, that's my labor is our one of our biggest focuses here.
Exactly.
The future labor, working with the school district. And now you said, if there isn't going to be anytime soon a huge amount of availability of labor, but yet the economy still is growing and there's jobs, one of the things that will play a major role in how we mitigate that is, of course, technology. We all hear about robotics and artificial intelligence. So now, or in the past, when we had, if you will, we needed a technician at every factory. In the future, we'll need, again, to automate that function, but you'll need a technician still to do the robots. And
right.
So in some way, technology can help to continue to expand and duplicate things, because again, there is not enough labor, but we'll still need the labor to manage, design, maintain, fix those technology pieces that will be coming up. And the other piece about why is this important? In a few weeks, on the site of the old Bishop Gorman High School on Maryland Parkway, that we will be inaugurating something called a Central Career Technical Academy, the newest CTA from the district. Nice. And it is the first school in the nation, because no other place in the nation has it happen. But this is a school that has been designed and built with a American Job Center, or a one-stop center of workforce connections on site. So the young people there and the families will be able to access the resources in our system right there in the school. And that school will have a focus on general and advanced manufacturing, which is one of the 7 target industry sectors for our region, and construction as well. So to your point, how do we are we moving to the future? How are we focusing on making sure that our future generation has the skills in those new technologies? That's just one example that we're working on with our partners at CCSD.
Oh, and that is encouraging, Jaime, because that will point into best practices. I don't think this is going to be easy, because we all have an opinion and definition of perhaps what needs to happen when it comes to education, training, and skills. However, I think our future on competency-based training. If we continue to do that, because that's what it boils down, not just that we observe the know-how, but we are able to demonstrate, we are able to do, we are able to run a machine. That's what really matters. And of course, that on top of the hard skills with a combination of soft skills. And that's problem solving. And again, in every industry, I don't care if it is customer service or on the production floor of a manufacturing company, you need the problem solving skills to really act on things right away. And that comes with training. And I think the biggest challenge for companies is also, and again, I have been in that space because my wife and I established a business in 1996. We still have it, Jaime, in which we provided, it was a workforce consulting and training company. Competency-based was the message. With the challenges of labor shortage and everyone in production for maybe all the right reasons, because first and foremost, you have to make money and a profit. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, training the way we know it is the first thing that goes out when there is a recession or a slowdown in economic activity. And it's the last thing to come in when there is a recovery. So we seem to be in this at the private sector for each company. And unfortunately, that goes out the window, and that's my main concern, that people will just remain with the technical skills and not be able to have those soft skills in terms of problem solving or things like we do daily, building relationships, cooperation, collaboration, and so forth.
Yep.
So,
well, let's hope that we can do a good job in that regard. Before we finish the podcast, I wanted to share a little bit more of good news with you and ask you also, what's in the horizon for business and industry, I wanted to share some news with you that in these Employee MV business hubs, we have now 5 locations. It seems like it was yesterday when you and I were standing there at the first one at the Vegas Chamber, and then it went to Schaerer West Library.
That was what, September 2020, if
I believe so,
mistaken.
in the middle, right in the middle of the pandemic. And then, of course, the city of North Las Vegas, the city of Henderson and their municipalities or their city halls, and, of course, the most recent one, Green Valley Library, where we were there with you as well as the inauguration of that. I wanted to tell you that, the idea has always been there, and all the things we've talked about today justify we got to do everything we can to help these small businesses grow. That's the future of our economy. And these Employee MV business hubs were that, a vision for a place where businesses could go and encounter multiple resources. So they didn't have to go to 2, 3, 4 buildings or organizations. And so the greatest news that I can share with you right now, until now, our partners, our friends at Dieter, at the Business Solutions team, Marcel and her team, had a, if you will, a presence in the hubs, but maybe just 1, 2 people at each one. I'm happy to tell you, and I'm grateful to Marcel and Ben and Carlene and Elisa and Linda at Dieter, because starting next month, they will move all 26 of their business solutions staff into those business hubs on a permanent basis. And so again, you'll have them there all the time, and so businesses will have more resources, more staff, more access to the resources that they need right there in those Employee MV business hubs. So I wanted to share that with you and ask you, because I know there's always, you guys are also doing stuff. You told me there might be some good things happening there on Schaerer and that big building. You said maybe some new concepts as well. Can you share anything about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I think it's just wonderful news how the level of collaboration, and I think if the pandemic did a lot of damage, Jaime, also when it came to collaboration, and remarkable collaboration did plenty of good. That aside, again, we are at 3300 West Sahara. That used to be the Wells Fargo Financial Center and now is the Nevada State Business Center. But we are going to have a physical location in 2023 of something called the Small Business Resource Center. And it's basically a physical location just to coordinate effort among business partners, because each of them do something good, and they provide training, they provide counseling, they provide workshops. But we feel that sometimes there is still as much as workforce connections, you need to have a coordinating body that is the glue, sort of this central operations that coordinates things. So we're looking forward to that. And I discuss it with you. So I welcome the opportunity to see how we can continue to collaborate and grow maybe programs organically. And that's the beauty of what is going to come into that particular space with the end user in mind, because he or she really needs to access resources just in time. Yep. And that is easy to say. But for all those dreamers and doers out there, when they need the resources, this will be yet another way that we can expand our level of collaboration and coordinate services so that particular individual could receive the help just in time. And sometimes just in time help is not just in person, Jaime. With the virtual platforms that we have in place, computers, telephones, we can do a bunch of things and not just rely on local expertise. Because, for example, SCORE has a network of volunteers throughout the country. So the message is, if you don't have it locally, still you can put in contact this potential a person wanting to get help in contact with the right expertise, and that person could be out of state. So plenty of great opportunities for all of us.
Yeah, and I want to renew our commitment today to you, to B&I from Workforce Connections, that we will continue to partner with you in every way we can to accomplish that, to hopefully enhance what you're going to be doing in that building, to better help businesses, continue to work with our partners at UNLV, Jamie and Bo with their SBDC efforts.
Yes.
They've been great partners in coming into these hubs. And so I want to thank you for being here with us today at the podcast, and we hope you come back again soon.
Well, anytime, my pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity just to exchange notes and to see what else we can do to help all those dreamers and doers out there.
Thank you, Marcel.
My pleasure.
Well, that's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We hope to see you at the next one. Until then, stay safe. All right, Marcel, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment called Against the Wall. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Our first segment is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to give me your favorite one. First, we're going to start with your favorite food.
Oh, my goodness. That is a difficult one. But, Jaime, I grew up eating spaghetti in a very Italian family, so I have to really celebrate my nonna.
Meat sauce or?
But gnocchis.
Gnocchis, yes.
Oh,
wow,
delicious.
Potato. I love that. Marcel, your favorite movie?
Oh, gosh. That is a tough one also. Gosh.
Are you action, drama, or romance?
Well, one of the things that I always do for Veterans Day is watch Saving Private Ryan. And I always cry. So
yeah, that's an intense movie.
Maybe the fact that I am always watching it, but I think my favorite one now that I reflect is Forrest Gump.
Oh, yeah. Much lighter. Much more happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, this one's good. Your favorite city to visit?
San Francisco. My goodness. I came to this country and there are beautiful places in the world, but I left my heart in San Francisco.
Very good. It's great places to eat. Mike and I have been there together. Your favorite subject in school?
Oh, wow. That's challenging. Sorry, I'm going through a checklist.
Were you a math kid or a English kid or a history?
No, if I have to, just probably was history.
History. Yep. How about your favorite artist or musical group?
Mana is my one of my favorite groups,
yeah.
And when it comes to artists, and I named my daughter Diana Ross.
Oh, wow.
I love her.
Very cool. Your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Your favorite sports team?
Olympia in Paraguay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Soccer team.
Yeah, they have a great record in the Copa Libertadores.
They sure do.
Yeah, Olympia. Well, you made it through our first segment called Your Favorites. How are you feeling?
I am feeling great.
You're warming up.
You're making me smile.
Yeah. The next segment is called Tough Choices because I'm going to give you two categories and you're going to have to choose one. You ready?
Sure.
Would you rather vacation in the U.S. or abroad?
Abroad.
Would you rather go camping or glamping?
Camping.
Would you rather drink beer or tea?
Beer.
Would you rather sleep in on a Sunday or wake up and have a hearty breakfast?
Wake up and have a hearty breakfast. I can always wait until I am dead to rest.
That's right. Are you a cats person or dogs person?
Dog. Even though I'm married to a cat.
Oh, okay. My favorite one, justice or grace?
Oh, boy.
Tough choice.
Can I go 50-50?
You can. There's no.
Okay.
Next one is also tough. It's called actions or words.
Actions all the time.
All right.
Yes.
Well, you made it with flying colors through the tough choices. You're entering the final stretch now, and the final segment is called Finish the Sentence. I'm going to give you 90% of the sentence, and you're going to finish it up for me. You ready?
Sure.
If Marcel could live anywhere, it would be...
In Switzerland.
Wow. Marcel's favorite thing about his job is...
Working with people.
The best part of living in Southern Nevada is...
Summerlin.
The 3 words that describe Marcel are...
Oh, boy. Proactive.
Good.
Personable.
Yep.
And action-oriented.
I agree. If Marcel could travel back in time, he would travel to...
Rome.
Awesome.
The Roman Empire.
Wow. Marcel, doing the WC podcast today was?
One more time.
Doing the WC podcast today with us was? In your words?
Oh my goodness, the team here and working with all of you. That was fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for staying over and doing our bonus
Thank you
segment,
for making
Marcel.
me laugh.